Okay, merry meet, children of Herne. I'm going to deal with the subject of magic. A subject that some of you haven't grasped. As I said in my other videos, magic is an occult. It's a hidden science. That's what the word occult means. Like witch. Witch means wisdom. Witchcraft means the craft of wisdom. Covenstead is where a craft of wisdom is taught. Don't mistake the word witch as the old crone over a cauldron. That is not what it's about. It's about intention. Now, we've talked about this together before. Now, I want to mention runes. Everyone is under the impression that runes was given to man from the Norsemen, the Vikings, that Odin had received the symbol of the runes. No, he did not. I believe extraterrestrials gave us the runes because each rune has a power. The symbol itself means nothing, but when activated it links you into an energy. People use the runes for divination. They don't think of anything else but the divination. But there's a lot more to it than that. Runes are a magical system that can change everything. We call them bind runes. And certain things are said over the runes which activate the combination of the runes. It's like a combination safe. You have to know each number, how many clicks to the right, how many clicks to the left, and what numbers to go to before you can get in the safe. So it is with runes. Now the Star people gave us many, many things. And they did. We believe they did give us the actual runes because it is a magical system. You have to learn the magical system. You have to draw up your circle for protection. And once you have protection, you then have to apply your runes. No, getting a handful of runes or getting the runes and throwing them onto a disc, onto a drawn out disc, is not what it's meant for. The runes can change the actual precepts of matter. You can change the weather by using a runic system. Many, many different bind runes compiled. Then you have to learn the monogram of the person has to have the monogram in runic. You take your book of shadows, you write it in runic, which my son did. He's wrote the whole thing in runic. And this is because, not just to protect it from prying eyes, but because the runes themselves. The crystals that you use are magical because they give off a vibration. I've already covered vibrations on 2 or 3 of my talks. And the vibrations are important. So the crystal will vibrate. So if you have runes, say, engraved on a particular crystal, then you not only got the runic power, but you've got the power of that crystal as well that's working through it. So forget this weird and wonderful thing of divination. This is not the way runes were used for. You can make a circle of runes. You can communicate with spirit with runes. You can communicate with the star people with runes. It was a gift from them to you. Now I told you at one time Ra actually controlled this world. Now, when you start talking about Egyptian deities, for God's sake, forget Egypt. They did not originate in Egypt. They did not come from Egypt. They came from Atlantis. Atlantis, we know the exact precepts of Atlantis. We know the exact geometry of Atlantis, which stretched from the Caribbean, which were all part of Atlantis, by the way, all the way through to Ireland. Now, Ireland at that stage was joined to England. That's why you have the outer regions are Celtic, Wales, Scotland, Cornwall, Ireland. Then, when Atlantis sunk, Lemuria sunk, Mu sunk, Brittany sunk, after the great Holocaust. It wasn't from some bloody mystic earthquake. It was from man. A great war ensued, and I've got a feeling I'm repeating myself here. The planet between Venus and Earth was destroyed to such a degree it forms an asteroid belt completely around the Earth. That's why it's there. You look for evidence, you're shown evidence. You can, as someone said to me before, you can lead a horse to water. You can't make him drink. You can check these things out yourself. So compare some of the strange symbols we've given and compare it to the runes. And forget divination, because that was nothing to do with it. Same as the tarot cards. What were the tarot cards for? The tarot cards were to read man's weaknesses and to learn, to teach how to overcome that weakness and strengthen them. It wasn't for reading whether you're going to come into so many thousands, or whether you're going to make a dark, tall, dark man, or any rubbish like this, or whether you're going to cross water. This is rubbish. People are spending 80, 70, 80 pounds to go to a tarot reader to be taught absolute rubbish. Tarot reader doesn't mind. He comes away with a happy smile on his face. And he'll laugh all the way to the bank, because he takes some other gullible fools. I read tarot, but I'm not a fortune teller. You read as far as it'll tell the weaknesses. But why tarot? Because in days of old, the ordinary person couldn't read or write. So they had to have something. I mean, it's no good reading chicken entrails. They had to have a picture that represented certain things to unlock their psychic ability, if you like. And they created the tarot cards. Where did the tarot cards come from? No one knows. No good to say, oh, tarot came from Egypt, or tarot came from here, or there's Atlantean tarot, there's Pussycat tarot, there's all sorts of tarot. Where have you seen these kind of things before? We've seen them in Reiki. There's dolphin Reiki, there's eagle Reiki, there's this Reiki, there's that Reiki. But if you study it, you'll find it all comes down to one form, the original. You can kid yourself all you want. The only one that's any different is Shambhala, because that is massive. All other Reikis, I don't care which one you do, if you look at it and compare it with other sites, you'll find that they are all the same. They use the same symbols. Everything is identical. So, man, because of his greed, he'll say, right, I'm going to have golden fish Reiki. And if you look at it, the symbols and the signs, you'll find they're all the same. Do not be caught into this trap, because that's what it is. And this is the same with runic. Oh, I had my fortune read by someone who does runic. Wow! If you're travelling along a path and you have a reading of that path, if you're staying on that path, the reading will become dead on. But say, for instance, the person branches off into another way. Your reading will not become dead on, it will become false. People only remember the bad, they do not remember the good. So you must remember this when you're thinking of runic. If you want to study runic, then there is a book called Runic Magic. I advise you to get this. It is highly involved. It does work. I use it. You can change the weather, you can change the disposition, you can bring friends that are long gone, you can bring friends back to you, you can do all sorts of different things. The sky's the limit, but you must know the runic power of what you're dealing with. So when you're studying runic, there's a lot of hype. You've got to cut this special wood. You've got to go and do this special ritual. You have not. That wasn't in the runic law. Nothing to do with it. This is all man law. Forget what man writes. Forget it. Because you've got a bias of man. Learn only what you feel in here. If it feels right in here and it applies to logic, then everything's fine. You get some people say, oh, multi-dimensional places, different dimensions, that's a load of bunkum. That's funny. One of the greatest brains on this earth, and I'm talking about Hawkins in his equations, the man who proved that Einstein was wrong completely. Hawkins is correct. There are many, many dimensions to this earth. Okay, how long have I got?
14 minutes have passed.
14 minutes have passed. That means, folks, I've got to leave you. Think about my words and what I've said. I hope next week to bring you something a little bit more interesting. So for now, if you're interested in runes, I advise you to study rune magic. Forget divination. Forget it. Because you're only fooling yourself. Merry we have met. Merry we part. Merry we will meet again. Namaste and Shanti.